you. Thank you, Commander Rowan. It has been a privilege to share this stage with you to help honor Diane Carlson-Evans, who serves with me on the American Legion's 100th Anniversary Honorary Committee. Everyone in this audience knows when you take the oath to serve our nation in uniform, you sign and accept an obligation that has no expiry. You serve for the rest of your life. Diane Carlson-Evans illustrates that commitment as well as anyone I've ever met. You may remember from Diane's story in the American Legion magazine last fall when she announced her decision not only to enlist in the Army, but to volunteer for combat nursing duty in Vietnam. Her father, a stoic Swede who rarely showed emotion, slammed his fist on the table. He said, "I have 2 sons who are already serving." Now his daughter wanted to go to war too. At the time, such a proposition did not sit well with many Americans. Difficult as it was to defy her father, Diane was determined to go where she was needed most, Vietnam. Determination, courage, and a willingness to sacrifice are qualities that simply cannot be taught or trained. But I suspect she learned them from both of her parents. Her choice to serve in combat hospitals that were often under attack was and is integral to the kind of person she is, not only the kind of nurse she became. Diane's value on the honorary committee has been immense. She has been exceptionally clear-sighted and very wise, and she is kind enough to share her thoughts with us in very pungent ways, and has made a huge difference to our committee. Having gotten to know her, it is wholly within her character to understand how she single-handedly led a difficult movement that continues today to honor the wartime service of women in the military, to reverse stereotypes, and to inspire future generations. The Vietnam Women's Memorial on the National Mall stands today and will stand for ages to come because Diane Carlson-Evans and the American Legion understood that fairness and equality were lacking when it came to the vital roles women have fulfilled alongside men in the U.S. Armed Forces and increasingly fulfill today. Her vision has proven prescient. This memorial and its enduring message can be seen as one step toward a greater destination, equal respect, treatment, and consideration for all Americans, veteran or not, regardless of gender differences. I believe that somewhere in the long-range vision of the founders of the American Legion, veterans like Diane Carlson-Evans could be found. Diane Carlson-Evans, she's not there, but I salute you. Thank you, Commander.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Roosevelt. My fellow Legionnaires, please welcome Diane Carlson-Evans, recipient of the 2018 Patriot Award.
Oh, please. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Good morning. You know, my father, if he could be here, God bless his soul, he was afraid I wasn't going to come home. And of course, that's when he pounded his hand on the, how did you know that? I must have said it in the interview. Thank you, National Commander Rowan. We are so proud of the first woman commander in our American Legion. Chairman Roosevelt, thank you so much for those introductory remarks. Chairman Dillard, And of course, all my fellow brother and sister Legionnaires, all of you, and the auxiliary and guests. I am truly happy to be here with you once again. And I remember those 1980s of coming to these conventions, the summer conventions, and speaking at them. And some of them, we all look a little older now, but those are precious years in my memory because of how you embraced me, how you embraced women, veterans. I know it is a great honor to receive the Patriot Award, and especially during this time of year while you come to walk the halls of Congress, achieving the vision of those American Legion founders from 1919. Those founders would be so proud to see the impact of you and your participation in the government we all swore with our lives to defend. That strand of American Legion DNA helped put the Vietnam Women's Memorial on the National Mall in 1993. About 30 years earlier, on the day I graduated from high school, the local American Legion post in Buffalo, Minnesota, go Minnesota, astonished me on the day of my graduation with all the parents and families sitting at the graduation ceremony and called my name forward to receive the American Legion Citizenship Award. Of course, I didn't know what I had done to deserve it and didn't think I did and wondered why it was me. I don't think I clearly understood it then, but it is clear to me now how much gestures like that mean to young people. In my case, I studied, as you know, to become a nurse with the goal of enlisting in the Army Nurse Corps. My brothers were in the Army. My 4-H buddy had been killed in Vietnam. We were losing farm boys. As you know, farm boys didn't have draft deferments. My goal was to go to Vietnam. I volunteered as I wanted to do what my brothers and those farm boys all around me were doing by serving our country. As a citizen, I did have that Citizenship Award. I felt it was my duty too. And I spent every day in country with my medics, fellow nurses, doctors, and those helicopter pilots, God bless them, trying our best to save as many lives as humanly possible. We were a team then, and we were a team, yes, willing to sacrifice our lives for theirs. That experience shaped the rest of my life. How could it not? And it continues to shape it through today. After the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall was dedicated in 1982, followed by the dedication of the bronze sculpture of the 3 servicemen, I believed that an important piece of war's story still needed to be expressed on the National Mall. A salute, something to honor all women who had served bravely in Vietnam and around the world during that time in every occupational specialty allowed for women at the time. But now I needed a new team. My vision for the Vietnam Women's Memorial needed a champion. I knew I couldn't do this alone. And a guardian for that team, my new team, to defend the purpose of placing the first monument in American history on the National Mall honoring military women. The American Legion never hesitated. A past national commander, a respected Legionnaire, and fellow Minnesotan, Judge Dad Foley, actually picked up his phone to talk to me. He said in 1985, "Come into my office and tell me what you want." Do you remember his voice? "Tell me what you want." He made himself clear. This is how the resolution process works. I felt like I was sentenced. I took his advice and I got to work. I was living in River Falls, Wisconsin now. And I went to my post in River Falls, Wisconsin. And I can't tell you how they embraced me. they said they would help. But they said we have to do it here, then the district, and then the department levels. And before 1985, finally, the American Legion National Executive Committee approved it. From that point forward, the American Legion's grassroots, national officers, and staff persistently supported my vision and fought through the many obstacles. Now remember, it took 10 years. There were many obstacles. Until the dedication ceremony on Veterans Day, which was 8 years later. It was no small task. I am so grateful to Minnesota and to Wisconsin for believing in the vision while it was still just a glimmer on my horizon. Everything starts in the trenches. Everything starts at the grassroots. And after that, we were jump-started for a national movement, and all the states got on board and raised funds and did everything that it took to convince Congress and the agencies in Washington, D.C. that it was time that we put a memorial on the mall honoring women. As you take this year's legislative priorities to Congress today and tomorrow and fight for benefits and health care of those who served, I ask that you keep in mind veterans like me, women and men who have honorably served our nation during times of war, deeply appreciate not only your resolution process, but your resolve, your persistence, your patriotism, and the lessons you teach our nation about what it is to be a good citizen. I want you to know, and I hope you know, how much your investment has ensured the legacy of women veterans, particularly of the Vietnam War, how much it has contributed to our personal healing, and that it leaves a shining beacon for future generations of American women. I humbly accept your Patriot Award on behalf of the women veterans I sought to honor, and on behalf of all those on the team, that's you, who made this dream come true. Thank you.
This year's Patriot Award is presented to Diane Carlson-Evans.